Imagine living in a world where you're being watched every second of the day, your every action, every thought, every aspect of your life being monitored and controlled. Imagine being restricted to the extent where you're unable to think freely, unable to feel, unable to express any emotion, and are expected complete devotion. This is what it feels like to be socially controlled. Social control refers to the way in which our behavior, thoughts, and appearance are regulated by the rules and social structures of society. In order to control society, one must have power. The rise to power of dictators such as Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin inspired Orwell and Lang's animosity towards totalitarianism and political authority. Together, Lang and Orwell's texts illustrate societies that prevent the freedom of its citizens through social injustice leading to their dehumanization. Whilst Orwell reveals a dystopia in which civil rights are obliterated, a replication of Nazism and Stalinism, Lang demonstrates socialist aspects of the Weimar Republic. Lang portrays the effect of power and control through the establishment of different social classes. The clothes of the working class are dark and bleak, symbolizing the dull nature and hopelessness of their controlled lives. The workers are assigned numbers to characterize their place within society. This again shows how they have been dehumanized to the extent where they are being labeled as numbers. Along with the lack of identity, the workers' synchronized body movements are a reflection of the machine age of Weimar Germany, suggesting compliancy and conformity. Poor lighting, accompanied by low-pitched drumming and melancholy tone music, foreshadows the diminished quality of life of the working class in a capitalist society. Their rigid, uniform body movements, juxtaposed with a montage of machinery, represent quite clearly that the workers are nothing more than parts of a machine, losing their humanity and reflecting the hardships of Germany after World War I. The creation of social class led to the abuse of power and control by the upper class in Metropolis, reflecting the ways in which social control leads to dehumanization, as the working class are convinced to have no other function than to be the lowest portion of society. Similar to Metropolis, in 1984, the authorities abused their power in order to destruct every aspect of human nature and individualism within society. Although Orwell utilizes telescreens, language, child spies, propaganda, and doublethink to dominate and mechanize society, concerns of mass manipulation were Orwell's reaction to industrial development. He valued privacy, which is destroyed by excessive power and manipulation over society. In 1984, the totalitarian government, known as the Party, literally twists reality. If you want to be a successful dictator, you can't just destroy the truth like Hitler, who actually burned books that went against his teachings. You have to make jargon up like Stalin, who actually rewrote those books to manipulate his people. While both show similarities, the main difference is that the party seeks the absolute subjugation of the individual by not only taking complete control of their actions but over their minds. The elimination of privacy is shown through the party's never-ending desire for power over human consciousness. Through the verbal irony, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. This slogan represents the idea of doublethink, which describes the reality of accepting two mutually opposing beliefs simultaneously as correct. It changes the truth and discourages the citizens to consider rebellion, as they're brainwashed into believing that the party's way of governing is the best and only way. The manipulation of language reinforces Orwell's paradoxical observations of the totalitarian societies of his time, in which disapproval of the government would become linguistically controlled. The telescreens were another form of manipulation which alludes to the Nazis' nationwide propaganda campaign to win the loyalty and cooperation of the Germans. They censored all forms of media that could be a threat to the Nazi beliefs. Alike, the telescreens were used to put false news reports, brainwashing and instilling fear in the citizens of Oceania. The effect of propaganda is shown through the characterization of Winston. Initially, Winston seeks the pure truth and believes the only way to attain that is by rebelling against the totalitarian rule of the party. Although towards the end, he listens to the telescreen streaming the propaganda that he now truly accepts, giving in to the rule of the party, declaring his love for Big Brother. By weakening the independence and strength of individuals' minds and forcing them to live in a constant state of propaganda-induced fear, the party is able to force its subjects to accept anything it decrees, even if it is entirely illogical. Lang and Orwell's texts both criticize the value of power and control, as it was a concern faced by both composers in their respective contexts. Although, due to some significant differences within their contexts, Lang and Orwell also commented on different concerns relevant to them. Lang explicitly condemns the effects of class divisions within society. However, Orwell is critical of the absence of privacy which is deprived by the rule of the party, reflecting the ways in which social control inevitably leads to dehumanization.